Hello, my name is Jim Gomez. Today, I would like to take the opportunity to present to you 5 methods to help you as a team here at JCT improve your team productivity. Think of these as keys to unlock your productivity, increase your velocity, and ultimately improve your settlement potential. Let's dive in. Important for all JCT operators, and especially our teams, the Macro 41 message lets dispatch know that you're running ahead of schedule and you're looking to improve your miles. Every time you send in a Macro 41, your driver manager, your SWAP team, nights, weekend dispatch, they all have visibility and know that you're running ahead of schedule. Time and time again, Macro 41 increases miles. It also provides an opportunity to swap to en-route loads that are at service risk.
41's great. I think it's great. I don't want to be a truck driver. I want to be team, Gene and Tim, here they are. Call us when you need us. We'll do whatever we got to do. Let's just make it happen. Let's take care of the customers. If I need to send a 41 in every day, I'll send a 41 in every day.
Normally try to get it first thing in the morning because we know about what time we're going to be at a certain spot.
You may be amazed at the miles you can get if you do the 41, but you have to work for it as well. And JCT is going to help you because they're not mind readers when you're 1,000 miles away. So send that 41 as soon as you can. And if it's as soon as you get loaded, then send it. At least somebody's going to see it. I know that it goes to 3 or 4 or 5 different places. Everybody sees that.
If you pick up at 6 p.m. the night before, that next morning at 7 a.m., get that Macro 41 in. Let them know that you're running ahead and they can start looking and start getting you more miles. It's really a very important macro. If you can run a California to Florida and then run back to California, as soon as you pick up that load in Florida, let them know you're running ahead. And they can maybe get you up to Dallas to repower somebody, or they can get you up to drop it in the Fort Worth yard because they have something else that's already sitting there.
You make way more money utilizing the Micro 41 because not only does it tell your dispatcher, but it tells the swap desks and other DMs that you're available to help them out.
Send your Macro 41 at 7 a.m. That's the swap desk gets in at 7 a.m. and that's going to be the first thing they see.
And that goes for solos too. It's not just teams that can utilize that, because I know there's a lot of solos that are running ahead on theirs and they just feel like they have to sit and wait. They don't.
One of our best team lanes that we have at John Christner loads out of WCC in Colton, California. Those loads either go to Arcadia, Florida, or Winter Haven, Florida. Great team runs, long miles, tight transit, and a great corridor being on I-10. There's a little bit of a cost associated with that though, that I think some teams maybe don't realize right at the start. They see the miles, they see the preferred lane, but there's also that time spent loading at WCC, unloading at a facility in Florida. While many teams might be hesitant to take a repower, preferring to try to stay on a team designated load, repowers do have their advantages. You can spend a lot of time at a shipper, a lot of time at a receiver. Whereas doing a repower out on the road, you've just eliminated one of those two. Anytime you eliminate time spent at a shipper, time spent at a receiver, you've increased your productivity. You've increased your productivity, you've impacted your settlements to the positive. And that's ultimately what a team wants to do.
Like the bigger picture where they can get extra 500 miles out of it or something like that.
Where they may be losing 200 miles, but when they do that repower,
you're gaining 500.
They want to stay hooked up to what they got. They don't want to disconnect from it. So therefore, they just feel like they're losing something. A lot of times with JCT on a repower, if I'm going to everybody sees the miles that I may lose, and if that's 200 miles, they're going to set me up for a bigger run for the next one. JCT wants you to be productive. So if they can repower you and get you over here. And we're doing a repower for some other reasons as well. And that's for customers out here, that we need to take care of these customers. I mean, customers should be number one. There should be nobody refusing a repower. Okay? JCT is not trying to repower you to whatever you may be thinking. You're in the area that we're needing this done, so let's do it. We're doing repowers for a reason. And some of those reasons are to get another driver home, or a driver might have an emergency. It's not necessarily always about with the customer. I mean, let's look after our fellow drivers, but then you also have to look at what you're doing as well. I want to be successful. And how are we coming to do that? Well, I got to send in macro 41s. I got to do repowers. Those things equal miles, and we all know that cent per mile equals money. And if you haven't tried for whatever reasons, you're afraid of what kind of response you may get or whatever the case is, that communication, get with someone and say, hey, listen, I want more miles. How do I get those miles?
I don't think a lot of teams look at the whole picture. They're looking at, well, the load I'm on has 2,700 miles, and the load that they want to put me on only has 1,500 miles. Well, the 2,700 mile load has 7 days on it. And if you deliver that, you're going to have to sit those full 7 days and only get that 2,700 miles. Whereas a 1,500 mile load only has a day and a half on it, where you can run that 15, deliver it, pick up something else, and run someplace else to make maybe 3,000 or 4,000. And I don't think they're looking at the bottom line like that.
I can tell you just from experience just recently is 1 week we did 7,000 miles was all swaps.
Yeah, there's no downtime in that. You're just running. We love repowers. It's how we make our miles.
Well, not only that, it was especially with JCT more than any other company we've been with, and we teamed with another company previously. JCT wants to take care of the solo driver too.
I think that's something that a lot of drivers lose track of. They lose sight of the fact that their job, regardless of what else they want to do that day, their number one job is to get the load there on time. And if that means that this driver can't make it, so you got to give up your good load to take something a little bit shorter and help out, that's what your job is. But if you take that shorter load, 90% of the time, dispatch is going to back it up with something better to make up for the loss that you took.
With any swap, there are costs associated to the team that's involved. One of the ways we've approached that is to institute swap pay. And swap pay simply pays the team operator $75 for any service-related swap. One of the challenges our solos have is the time-sensitive nature of the freight that we have at JCT. Many times they're given a load that they just don't have the hours to complete. So we turn to our teams for help. We ask our teams to repower loads that a solo can't necessarily make delivery on time, and we provide an invaluable service to our customers. Doing that helps us with better selection of freight. We take that a step further. Our driver managers and our swap team work together, making sure that not only is the swap completed in an efficient and effective way, but also that we have something beneficial on the other side of that swap. Usually that means we make sure that the team is lined up with the load that gets them back into a team-friendly area and ultimately proves the swap was worthwhile for that team. If they did just one swap each week, that really would result in $3,900 annually, an increase that they wouldn't have had otherwise.
Swap works several ways. It can help you from avoiding that dock. You do 10, that's $750. That could be a truck payment. They can be beneficial. They can work to your advantage. I would challenge anybody out there just to try. Go from 0 and do 10 in a month and see what you think about that. Because that repower can be setting you up for that better run.
And it helps cover the low cost if you're only looking at that trip. It helps cover the, maybe you had to get fuel that time. So it helps cover the maintenance and the fuel costs. And it adds up. I mean, just because you only got it on one load doesn't mean that, for us, especially because we do swap so much, that, we have 5 loads in that week, it does add up.
Our best teams here at JCT, they look at the big picture. They look not only at what's right in front of them today, but what's going to happen a couple of days from now. They trust JCT to do what they said they would do. If they accept a repower, they trust us to make sure that we have something set up on the other end of that repower that keeps them productive, keeps them moving. They might accept a load that's not necessarily a team designated load, but they trust JCT to route them through one of our drop yards. For instance, a team could be offered a solo load that goes to Moberly, Missouri. Well, that solo load could either be set up to drop in Oklahoma City or here in our terminal in Sapulpa, Oklahoma. Once we do that, we're able to turn that team right back around and keep them productive. One other consideration of this big picture is shipper schedules. We have many shippers that ship 7 days a week, but we also have some that are maybe just open Monday through Friday. Some of them don't ship on Mondays. A team that looks at the big picture takes all those things into consideration.
The lanes are good, and the California to East Coast, West Coast, down on 10, the Florida to California thing. But try those other lanes. And those other lanes, you may be surprised. I would take the 40 lane any day of the week because I know what kind of miles I'm going to get out of it. I know I'm going to be repowering. I know I'm going to be swapping. Who says you have to deliver that short run? Nobody says you have to deliver that short run. Maybe JCT wants you to pick up that short run, or you can get away from the area so they can get you rolling.
The best thing that I can tell you is running a team, is this is your business. In all honesty, what do you want your business to look like? Do you want to be profitable? Do you want to work every day? Because the Christners, they're up there every single day. You have to work every single day. If your truck is not moving, you aren't working. Plain and simple. You don't decline a load. That's hurting yourself. You're a business owner. I'm not going to decline business. That's what you're doing. You're declining JCT's business.
JCT has always had an open door policy. We encourage our operators to talk to the driver managers. Let them know what's working, what's not. We can learn a lot from what we do wrong. We can correct those situations. But also, we want to know what we're doing right. Those things that we're doing right, we want to do more of. Each time we communicate with our customers about various challenges that we have, problems that we encounter, that just builds trust with that customer and with JCT. Anytime we build trust with our customer, we're given more and more opportunities. And those opportunities ultimately benefit our operators. Just as we look at our customers as partners, we look at all of our operators the same way. You are our partners, and we're a team.
When JCT says they want you to be successful, they want you to be successful. Your driver manager is going to get with planners, personnel that do swaps, but it does start with the communication part. And JCT has some of the best people around.
Communication is a huge part of what we do. I mean, there's days where I'm literally on the phone all day communicating with several different people, not just my DM, but I've got the planners and the swap desk, and there's days where literally I'm on the phone with other drivers, and that communication's huge to get it all worked out and get everybody where they need to be.
See, as an owner-operator, which even as a lease operator, you still are. You are a driver, you're a safety manager, you are a customer service agent. That's a huge one at all times. If you're in that truck, you're you're wearing 37 different hats at once, and they all got to fit, and you got to make them all look good.
Our best teams, they look at the big picture. If you have any questions about anything that was covered today, I invite you to contact us for further information. Thank you so much for your time.